Welcome back. It's been what 3 weeks since we did one with Zoom, so
Yeah, absolutely.
It
it's good to
has
be back. We've
been
had a
four
little
weeks, 4 weeks since I've been here.
Dave's been kicking his feet up on the beach.
I have
We've
had a nice
been
holiday away.
we've been going mental over Max and Red Bull.
Yeah. We've been living the dream. We've been lathering ourselves in all of the points that Max and Red Bull have to offer, whilst we're drinking the tears of McLaren fans and their horrendous pit lane incidences, which just keep happening, which
Yeah,
is really interesting. I mean,
if
welcome
it's not if
in
it's
everyone.
not if it's not Lando, it's Oscar, as we saw this
Yeah, it was, what
weekend.
was it? Like Lando for
Five,
the last three races, and then Oscar, the what is it, rear left? It just got stuck like 5.2 seconds.
yeah,
And do you know what? What's really funny is before I don't want us to I don't want to jump the gun because we have an entire review to do of the race. But if considering what happened towards the end of the race and how close Oscar was to Lando, if it wasn't for that slow pit stop, it could have
it
been a
would have
different
been.
world.
Yeah, it would
It
have
could
Definitely,
been.
have been a different world.
I agree.
But I'll tell
What
you
of
what, why don't you start us off, Dave? Obviously, constructors champions for the second year in a
Second
row.
year in a row,
Give us your thoughts on the
third one in
race.
32 years.
How do you feel?
It was a mediocre race, if I'm going to be honest. It wasn't full of action or anything like we've seen in some of the races this season. Was it turn two into turn three? Very controversial for the Oscar fans there. They were not happy with that. Oscar wasn't happy with that incident. It was a lap one racing incident. That is all it was. It went to the stewards. The stewards came back saying no further action. Yeah, Oscar was on the radio going, "Well, if he's going to treat me like that, it's okay for her to be barged out the way, and we're not going to sort this out," sort of thing. I mean, there were. I think if Oscar would have just brushed it off and got on with it, he would have had a much clearer head. He could have potentially done a lot better in that race. Yes, he had a bad pit stop as well. The tinfoil hat wearers need to calm down a bit. It wasn't sabotage. McLaren aren't going to sabotage their own drivers. It just doesn't happen. I mean, well, it has happened in the past. Um,
when people say that? Oh,
it is.
Lando's been
Yeah,
sabotaged. Oscar's been sabotaged. Why would they do that?
Do you know what though? On that point though, I mean, sorry to cut you off, Dave. The I've been seeing things online on Twitter especially, and the amount of hate that goes on between Lando fans and Oscar fans is truly scary. I've never seen fans support the same team yet be so polarized on the drivers.
that's the thing is a lot of
It's
people don't
nuts.
support McLaren as a team. They're only supporting one or the other. It's like, well,
Or the other, yeah,
it's like you
like
don't support Man United and don't support like the striker. I don't even know who plays for them anymore. But you don't just support the striker, do
let's
you?
go.
You don't.
Yeah, of course.
It's you support them as a team. And all right, yeah, they're going to have. And I mean, and it's the same sort of thing in with football. You got them going for
Yeah,
like the most
definitely.
goals scored and everything, and the best goal scorer of the rev. They're all going for their own little personal trophies within that team.
But you
But at
gotta
the
love
end
the
of the
team, innit?
day,
Yeah.
it's a team. It's a team sport. Um, which is another reason I think McLaren realise that they've got the constructors in the bag, and that's why they've just dropped off with any sort of upgrades, and they've sort of like left it down to the two lads to right. If you want your drivers, it's up to you boys. We've given you the car, what we can do with it. We've
Yeah,
used all our wind tunnel time up. It's up to you boys now to take it to the end. Whereas I'm guessing it's a bit of a blessing that Red Bull finished P3 last year in the constructors.
Yeah.
So you've got that little bit of extra wind tunnel time. You've had a bit more time to develop. You haven't developed through the season. You've bided your time with developing your car, and you've waited till McLaren have peaked, and you're like, well, hang on a minute, we're going to bring this tweaky little upgrade here. We're going to bring that. I mean, you're bringing another one next week, next race weekend.
Austin.
So it's
and
I
Brazil.
think and Brazil as well. So I think yeah, let's see if McLaren can get the drivers to the end. I mean, it's going to be a close one. It's going to go down to the wire this season. Is
I mean, I can see it getting down to Abu Dhabi, and it'll be a three horse race. I think it could be.
And I
If
yeah.
love that. I love that it's a three-horse race. I mean, oh, man.
could you imagine though telling someone Max would be in a title fight before Zandvoort? They'd
I
laugh
think
at you.
if do you know what? That would be the most Max Verstappen thing to do ever. Ever of his personality in the sense of for 60% of the season, it was always a two-horse race. Always a two-horse race. Maybe for the first 20% it wasn't, and then for the middle 40% it was a two-horse race. And then now we're just going into our own again, and it's like if there were any haters or doubters, even if you hate him, you would now, like, for some people, they are proud of the fact that they hate Max because, you know, he's this person or that person. If Max wins a five-time if Max wins this world championship, even if you hate him, you will look like an idiot, with respect. Like, you will look like an absolute imbecile because no matter what happens, you know, for every point he has worked for, he has known in the back of his head that his life has progressed and evolved off track and on track as well. He's seen so many things on track that has happened. Christian Horner's ended up leaving over these last 2 years. Adrian Newey's left, Jonathan Wheatley, all of these things which you already know about. Laura Mekies has come in. He's had another driver come in after 2 races of the season, and he's had really bad like frustration moments. You remember that George Russell where he just like bumped into him like it was bumper cars. That was peak Max Verstappen frustration. And 4 races ago, he went and said, I'll be surprised if we win a race under any normal circumstances. Last 4 races, 2 second places and 2 wins.
And a
He has
Grand
got the
Slam.
most points out of any driver over these last 4 races. And there's and only Max can do that. Like, genuinely, I've never ever despised Lando or George Russell, maybe George, or Oscar Piastri. But if anyone has any doubt in terms of Max being lucky, because there's some people who I know on my TikTok account are like, Max just got lucky, and I'm like,
He
get
is
out of here. Get out of
he's a
here.
whole different breed of driver,
He
Max, and
is.
you can't take that away from him. When all the other drivers are on their weeks off, are sunning it up, Max is out there getting new licenses,
Nordschleife.
winning
It
new
looks
cups
like,
for the
yeah.
first time. I mean, I sat down and watched that race last weekend as well. Sat down for 4 hours watching it, even though he's only racing half of it. But to get in that first 2 hours, what did he get? Like a minute and 20 lead
Ridiculous.
over everybody else.
Can we just give a round of applause to the job Lauren Mekies has done refurbishing that car?
I think it's just getting the toxicity of Horner out of there. That
Yeah.
he was bringing a lot
It's
of
new wind, isn't it? It brings
yeah.
a bit of life into the team. And Max himself actually said the way that they used to go around the race weekends was
Simulators.
it was yeah, well, exactly. It was like Friday, it's just like try everything, see what happens.
Yeah, because
And
I don't
then
think.
see on Saturday, see on Sunday. But Max said that from Friday they've used more common sense. And one more thing actually, which I love is it's so funny how ever since Laura Mickey's has come in, I've really not heard a lot of Helmut Marko, especially from a publicity point of view. And for me, that's amazing because he was a very polarizing character, Helmut Marko. I think we can all agree that he is just wasted space. He's a living dead body, whether you like it or not. I will die on that hill. He's just not good for Red Bull. But the fact that he's now out of the wind, like, even if you don't like Red Bull, you can at least start respecting them because, like, do you know what? These guys are actually changing. They're turning around, and they are a bit of a legacy team because they've got 20 years worth of heritage, albeit it's not the oldest, certainly not the newest either. But like, they've got something to hold on to now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, they've
definitely.
got movement behind Mekis and his vision, and there's hope for the future, like good hope.
This also, Mekies has really listened to Max, approached it from an engineer's point of view, whereas Horner didn't really care what Max had to say.
Yeah, I can see that. Horner, I mean, it was right, wasn't it? I mean, the reason why Horner was gone was one of the reports that came out was he just had too much power over almost everything, and that if that's what happens, then it's like there is no thinking because everyone's thinking the same thing. So if anything, there's a lack of thinking. So you can't really challenge new ideas, innovations. It's just whatever the dictator says, we do, and it worked up
Yeah.
until a certain amount of time. Well, it worked until it didn't. So, you know.
Also, I think that. Hang on, give me a minute. I need to think of a way to word this.
Go for it, man.
I think Horner leaving has given more people in the team freedom to do what they want. And for example, Pierre Walsh, this shows that he can provide upgrades to make Red Bull fastest or competitive again without Newey, and that's good. That'll be good confidence for the team.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
what do we?
But
What? Is it Karen?
I was just gonna say, I mean, we're speaking about Red Bull too much, but because we were speaking about Mercedes, but
It's
let's
McLaren's
actually
day today. It's McLaren's day today.
it's
We were just
McLaren's
blazing
day.
Red Bull.
But yeah, I mean, listen, Max, obviously, great job, P2. But let's not take anything away from George Russell. I think he put in an amazing performance. To keep Max Verstappen behind isn't easy, and
to go
also
from
he did well.
that
He just did
start that
well
he
in
had as
general.
well. I thought when Max was starting on softs, I thought Max is going to get him by turn
Yeah,
one.
Max will get him.
Max
Yeah,
is
yeah,
going to
yeah.
do it. Max
It
is
was
going
the
to do it, and he's
opposite.
going to be away. And he
Max
just
didn't
could
get a
not
good
catch him.
start, you know. I saw the
No,
race start, and I saw George just snap off like
he
this, and
just
Max, I don't know what
went.
happened.
And
Yeah.
then to
That
get
side of the track wasn't
around a
good, I don't
10
think.
seconds, around a 10-second lead by the time he pitted.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Absolutely nuts. Over Max as well on soft tires. I mean, one thing to note though, Max was not on new softs. He was on old softs, which were his Q3 hot lap. You know,
right.
the hot lap he didn't do. That was his, and I mean, for what it's worth, I believe anyways that if you are absolutely sending it in qualifying, even if your tires are 3 laps old, in race laps, that's probably a little bit more, just because of the
Yeah.
amount of pressure and force that you're putting through those 3 laps. But either way, I mean, take nothing away from George Russell. He's probably still not going to get a contract, but he did unbelievably well. It was, if it could have been a Grand Slam, it would have been, but obviously it's not possible. It could have actually been possible if he was like the last one to pit and had like a 20-second gap. But obviously the Mercedes didn't have that pace.
Yeah,
But in general, we've not
This,
seen Mercedes be like that for a while now. So for
yeah.
him to
It's been
register another race win, fair play.
was that Canada? Since Canada's his
true.
last race win.
Yeah.
If only Red Bull didn't piss about Max's setup after FB3, I think it would have been a lot closer.
And yeah, do you know what I mean as well? You lost a second and a half on your pit stop as well, because you're usually knocking out a 2 second, but you've done a 3.5 for some reason this weekend.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, I
was
think one
there
of the
was
tires got stuck in it.
a lot of people. I mean, talking of tyre sticking as well, Alonso a 9.8 second pit stop, and then still
Speak-
getting back into the points.
Yeah. Speaking
It's
of Alonso, though, what do you think about him crashing out over the radio?
yeah, Alonso's stop talking to me every lap, or I'm pulling the radio. I'm
I'm
pulling the
pulling
plug.
the radio.
He's
But I mean, do you know what? Quickly, let me pivot. Speaking of pulling the radio, did you see Oscar Piastri pulled his radio when Zach Brown was speaking to him?
yeah. He
I
I think
want to come on to that later. If
yeah.
you've watched this far, I want to come on to that later because I've got an entire thing to say about Oscar and the rumors and what I make of that situation. But yeah, I mean, Alonso always a hilarious guy. I mean, did you hear what Lance Stroll said as well? And
My tyres are 100 years
my
old.
tears, yeah, he was shouting. This guy, he is always shouting. Like, I don't know what they do. Maybe like Sky Sports, they amplify his sound, but he was literally like, it was all in bold exclamation marks. My tires feel like 100 laps. I'm like, God
Yeah.
damn, like, calm down. I mean, it's
Everybody's
super
set on
insane.
like 80%. They've got Lance Stroll turned up to 150.
Unbelievable. But I mean, listen, it was a boring race at the end of it. One thing that I will say, and I will die on this hill once again, is I would have liked to think that Lando Norris would have made that move past Verstappen. I mean, I was live for that entire race, and I was speaking to my viewers that it was like what lap 48 out of 61 or 62, sorry, and I was like, "There's no way Max keeps him at bay for 15 laps." Like, of course, you know, people are going to say that he had a bit of front wing damage, but that didn't stop him getting past Piastri, and it didn't stop him making a lead over Piastri. Max was on tyres which were 7 laps older, and yes, it is Singapore where it's hard to overtake, but given the circumstances and the tyre delta that you've got, if you took an example of Lewis Hamilton, this guy was gaining almost 2.5, 3 seconds per lap until he had his brake issue. To the point where he, within like I think 11 laps, he gained 24 seconds because he made an entire pit stop, gained over Leclerc, breezed past Leclerc, and then almost made it through Kimi, and then like the gods just came up and said,
They got
"Yeah,
past
not
Kimmy, didn't
happening."
he? And then his brakes just went.
I don't know how that happened. I don't even know how he finished the race or how even the FIA allowed it. Because surely that's a danger if you're going to be on the racing line
Well,
the
so
entire
yeah,
time and going
this
slow.
is why when they went to the stewards that Lewis and Ferrari just didn't put anything towards them. They just said, yeah, all right, we'll take that. Because if they'd have said, well, the reason is why Lewis was cutting the corners was because he had no brakes whatsoever. Oh, when did you find out about this? Oh, 2 or 3 laps ago. Well, why did you let him race? Why didn't you pull him in? Why didn't you fix
Yeah,
it or
yeah, yeah.
retire the car? It would have been worse off for them. So I think they gamble with that. Right, let's take a 5 second penalty. All right,
Yeah.
you're still going to be in the points. It's better than finishing or not finishing the race, getting no points whatsoever. Don't say anything in the investigation when we're in there. We'll just keep our
Yeah.
mouth shut. Just take it on the chin. Walk out there with our 5 seconds.
Smart move
Yeah.
from them. Good strategic decision, ironically.
In a
Ironically.
they've made the best situation out of a bad situation.
Really bad situation, yeah.
It's just unfortunate. I think it must have been. Lewis, just like you say, he was flying on them softs, making up all that time. He's just overcooked his brakes. He's going in there, braking late, coming out early, speeding up early, and he's just overcooked them brakes. Obviously, with the temperature, the humidity on the track as well, that's all going to have factored into his
Yeah.
brakes
Cool.
failing on him.
And you could see it all across the grid. That's the reason why we had so many pit stops that were like strangely slow, because it is so. I mean, what they said. I mean, track temperature is usually about 30, 35 anyways at night time in Singapore. But inside the cockpit, you're experiencing 60 degrees. That is like a warm sauna. You know, not a
And
hot
they
sauna, but
lose,
that's
and
a warm sauna.
they can lose up to 3 kilos in weight during that one race as
Yeah,
well.
of course. We
It's
saw George Russell's. He had a panic attack, didn't he? This time last year in
what's it going to
Singapore
be
when
like
he
there
tried to
next
survive.
year in a sprint race in the afternoon in those conditions?
Did you
You
hear
guys are
what?
gonna have a six pack. Go ahead, Al.
Did
Sorry.
you hear what Fernando said about Hadjar?
No.
Hero of the Day award goes to this guy.
Yeah, I
For
didn't hear
moving.
that. No, of moving out the way.
Yeah, he was on a
Oh, because
mad one today.
they said to Hadjar as well, didn't on the radio as to Hadjar is like something about Max. That somebody said pick this up in my live. They said Hadjar's going to let Max through, but he's going to slow down for Lando. And I was thinking,
He
I
didn't,
don't think
man.
he's going to do
No,
that.
he
But
let
no, he
both of
moved out of
them
the way
through.
for both.
No,
He let them both get
yeah,
straight through.
I
I
think
think
it was made up nonsense from the commentators because of the radio message that came across from Hadger's team. He said, "You know what to do, right?" So
yeah.
it implied that he was gonna try and pull a move, and it was like no, because I mean if it would have been he would have been following into the footsteps of Danny Ricciardo, because obviously Danny Rick got the fastest lap given the circumstances last year
Which is the
from
reason why we
Max.
don't have the fastest lap point anymore. It's got to
Honestly,
be one of the main
mate. And
reasons.
do you know what? If that happened, if Max, for example, got fastest lap or whatever, the championship would have looked so much more different. We're what 18 races through? Yeah, we've got 6 races left, haven't we? We're 18 races through. Even if Max got 10 of those points, that would have been an
It'd
even
only be
closer game for
30,
himself.
30 points in it between him and Lando.
Oh, that's it. I mean, speculation, but I mean, either way, how do we feel about that though? The championship gap obviously is now reduced even more.
22 points from Lando to Piastri, 41 from Verstappen to Lando. I mean, so there's only 63 points between Verstappen and Oscar. It's
Not a lot.
no,
It's
it's
not
all
in
it's
Max
going to take.
Verstappen terms. I mean, that's really and truly, Dave. That's
All it's
one
taking now
DNF.
is with the way that the McLarens are going in and the tension that's going to be in there next weekend because of what's happened.
Yeah.
If Oscar doesn't let this slide, we're going to go into the next race weekend with a potential double DNF McLaren. If Oscar doesn't let
Yeah,
this slide now, and then
100%.
that's 25 points clear for Max. And then he's
Given to him for free.
sitting there like that. He's there sitting there like that, going, I can taste that fifth.
If
Yeah.
anyone can overcome it though, it's Max.
That's right. But I think I'm not trying to be pessimistic here. I'm going to play devil's advocate. Maybe not even devil's advocate. I'm going to be rational here. The same could happen for Max in terms of a really silly DNF. Like, do you remember that DNF when Kimi just barged into him? And obviously
Well,
they
that's what
shook
I
hands at
thought
the end.
today. Have
But if
Kimmy
that
starting
happens,
behind him in the on the grid.
well, exactly, bro. Like that's what, like for what it's worth, it's all great, and all of the gains that Max has made. But if Max has a single DNF, that's game over, because that 63 points then turns into 88 points, and then all of a sudden it's like, do you know what? It's not going to happen again. So I mean, look, I'm excited for what the rest of the season has to hold. Hopefully, we don't have a race as boring as this, because it was almost like Japan. I mean, Japan was boring, but this one was like
It's
proper
just
snooze fest. This
if
was
we'd have had
proper
Jack
snooze
Villeneuve
fest.
commentating this weekend as well, it would have been
It would
let's
have
go to
been
sleep.
serious. Yeah, it would have been. A lot of fans would have been lost in that drought. I mean, when is it Cotter? That's next Austin, right?
Yeah,
No.
Texas next.
So when is that? Is that next week?
Not next weekend, the weekend. So we've got another week off,
Oh,
and then we are back for it is the 18th. So Friday the 17th, we've got practice session 1 and the only practice session. Then it's sprint qualifying,
sprint. Oh,
and then
we're
we've
gonna
got
love that.
sprint in the morning on Saturday, followed by qualifying. So it's a pretty action packed weekend.
What time is what times are they? Could you just let me know?
We are just let
UK
me just
time.
get the UK times for the weekend will be
Because I imagine it's super early for us, isn't it?
It's not. It's not a really early one. No,
6, if
it's
I
quite
remember.
late. Yeah, practice coverage starts at 6 with a
Oh yeah, of
6:30
course.
start.
Because it's America. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then we've got a 9:30 coverage start for the qualifying, sprint qualifying, with a 10:30 kickoff for that. The sprint race is 6
Wow.
p.m. on the Saturday, and then the qualifying is at 10 o'clock on Saturday night, followed by the race
Oh.
at 8 p.m. on Sunday.
Oh, that means I can be home. That means I can be home. Oh
Watch it
my
on a
Okay.
decent
God.
sized screen, not on this on your phone.
Mate, it's honestly like I mean I love going live here, but you know it's like with you, Dave. When you're doing it, you want to do it 100%. But like, and the thing is, because the races are at midday, that's when it's usually the busiest time in the shop. And in a way, like obviously I'm confident and whatnot, but I really don't like engaging. I don't feel good when I'm engaging with people on live whilst I've got customers in and around because I feel like I should be doing them a service. Do you know what I mean? And then it's that constant split decision of like, making sure that the people online are entertained, but then it's like I'm running an entire business. And it's like making sure, like, I did that today. And it's not the best atmosphere to be in because, like, your head's just like fried because you're making sure that no one's stealing something. You're trying to make sure that you're serving your customers if another person wants this. And then you're listening to what's happening live. And then you're looking at the comments. And it's like, so it's just
And that's
nice.
what's
You're
going through the
just
McLaren
juggling,
boys'
innit? You're
heads.
juggling so much when you're at the
Too
shop at the
much,
same
man.
time.
Yeah. What we
Also,
say
one
now?
more thing. One more thing about Kota, Texas. That is
Mm-mm.
historically one of Max's top 3 tracks, probably. And Red Bull love that because the low downforce, high speed corners,
Low downforce, high speed corners. Yeah, that sounds like Max though.
and
That sounds like it's
if
just
if Oscar
it's big. It's a ballsy track in it. That's what
if
Max is.
if Oscar
It's
holds a
ballsy.
grudge, if Oscar holds a grudge and they DNF, Max is going to be left for the 25 points. Game on again.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I said at the beginning though. Like, I remember in general, we can all agree. Like, this whole papaya rules thing, it was a matter of when all of this breaks down, not if. Like we all knew that papaya rules was all going to be happy and jolly, and red light, green light, up until it goes down to the wire. And I was coming down to the wire. You got 22, like one DNF. If Oscar DNFs the next race and Norris wins it, Norris is ahead in the championship. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, that's
It's
I've
3
as
got
points
easy
on
as
him.
that. It's as
I've got an
easy as that.
I've got an opinion on the papaya. I think to keep McLaren, they're not going to want it, but they would not be against the idea of Max winning their drivers, so they can go into another year having 2 number 1 drivers.
No, I'm gonna
I
have
think
to.
that after this season and what they've seen, they've had to deal with. I think they want to get something in stone so they know, right, this is the order it's going to be in for next year. This is how
Yeah,
we're going to go forward. Not having
Agreed.
another year of Zach Brown arguing with Mark Webber every single race about, well, now my driver's number one. Now my driver's number
yeah,
one. They're
100%.
going to have to, from now
Yeah.
on, it's going to have to be your racing foot. Right, you've got the constructors done now, so now it's all about you two race on. If you crash, though, do you know what I mean? It's only yourselves that you're going to lose out on now.
My
Yeah.
take on this is, I think, and this is going to be controversial. If Oscar loses out the championship because of more papaya rules or Lando Norris is the golden boy in an unfair way, what he seems is unfair, not what we think is unfair, and he loses out the championship and Norris wins the championship because of silly little stuff like this, I think he leaves next year. When I mean next year, I mean like he leaves at the end of this season and he tries to find somewhere else because you
Yeah,
can't only hold on to that. You can't hold on to that again. I would, if I was in Oscar's position, and I know that for about 7 months I've been leading the championship, and it all comes down to the wire, and my own team aren't supporting me. It's like trust is a broken glass. You know what I mean? Right now they're throwing the glass, but fortunately, it's all right. But once the glass breaks, you can't put it back together. And I think Oscar and Mark Webber, he's a Red Bull boy. Do you know what I mean? He's been through all of this stuff. He's just gonna say, "Listen, mate, it's boiling. It's frog in hot water." Do you know what I mean? Like you jump when you're in boiling water. He'll be like, "Do you know what? Let me see what
get you out the
McLaren. Let me
pan.
see what. Yeah, that's it. Let me see what Mercedes are saying. Let me see what Ferrari is saying. Let me see what Red Bull are saying. Because I'll tell you what." I will, if he was ever at Red Bull, Max would take him on with open arms. They've got similar personalities. They wouldn't clash, and they will know. Listen, it's 1v1. it's Max versus Oscar. If anything, that would be one of the most high level competitions, like proper fights. Like, you know, when we used to see prime Nico Rosberg versus Lewis
True.
Hamilton.
But
We've
I
not
also
had
think,
anything like we've had Lando Norris versus Oscar Piastri, but really and truly, Norris hasn't been in it fully for him to be like, do you know what? Let's go for it. He's been making silly little mistakes, and the same for Piastri as well. But
yeah,
we've not seen that, them taking each other out like proper 2021 prime Lewis versus Max. I think if Piastri moved to Red Bull alongside Max Verstappen, that's exactly what we would see, and I'd
I
be so
agree.
here for it.
But I also think Max would welcome it because he doesn't see. He's going to think in his own mind, you're not going to beat me.
Well, until he does, I think I don't know why I really do think Piastri's world champion material.
Yeah, he is.
Aside from this, I mean, I
Definitely
said
is.
it at the beginning of the year, and I will always take my bragging rights for it. I remember we was in the before the season started. I said, "Here's a controversial opinion: Oscar Piastri will do better than Lando Norris." And I remember
He
people in
has
the
been.
comments
He
were
has
like,
been all season so far.
oh, "Exactly." But I
It's
mean,
just it's is
let's
it
see.
is this is we're starting to see a more human side of him now, though, aren't we? With little mistakes here and there, and he's started to stress a little bit more. Where we haven't seen this side of Oscar Piastri before. He's been
Yeah,
quite cool and collected. He's
all
not.
nonchalant.
He's not really,
Yeah,
yeah, he's not stressed at all. But now we're seeing a side of him where he's starting to get irritated. He's starting to make these little mistakes, and he needs to start fighting back hard as well. Which is why I hope he can drop this, but use it in the right sort of way. Channel it into the right way to go into the next race. Don't go in there with a grudge, but go in there with that passion and that fire in your belly, and use it to his advantage.
Like,
Don't go in there with a grudge.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
when you'll. I
Definitely.
mean, like I said, they've got the constructors now, so the team's not going to lose out. It's only them two that are going to lose out, and they can quite easily just undo
yeah.
everything they've done this season in one or two races.
Yeah. Can I just say something about Grudge though? I thought when Max said it will be remembered after qualifying. I
Oh, I
thought
thought
when
he
he,
was gonna barge into.
I thought when he was defending Lando, I thought he'd shunt him into a wall.
Well, but you know, when they interviewed Max, when they said to him, "Do you know what went on behind you between Oscar and that?" And they were like, we think Lando hit like clipped the back of you," and he's like, "I didn't even feel a thing. I didn't know what was going on." And so he didn't feel any contact there whatsoever. I think it literally his front wing must have grazed his back wheel a tiny little
Yeah.
bit, and then Lando's panicked, gone back over, and then just sort of like he hasn't on the people that were saying he's purposely barged Piastri out of the way. I was like, do you know how delicate these cars are? I mean, if you use your car as it's not like on the cartoons where you see cars ramming each other off the road. Now you do that in an F1 car, and
Game over.
you're giving yourself like race changing damages and things like that. Where they think Piastri said he might have had a steering issue or something after that as well, which is why he dropped off so much. But I think it's because he got very emotional on that radio straight away, and because the team weren't reacting the way he wanted them to, and they were saying we'll deal with this after the race. I think he let that boil in his blood too much, where he should have just got on with the race and just deal with it after the race as much. He's sat there overthinking about that whole lap one incident for whole 62 laps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I've got
Probably
one
a bit
last.
embarrassing for him though, isn't it? Because he started
Yeah,
what he started P3 and then Lando started P5, and
but
within like
he's no
three
longer the
turns.
Oscar's no longer the ice cold driver that everyone thought he was at the beginning of the season.
I still think he is.
Yeah,
I
he is, but not to
my
the same
argument for
degree.
him is he's had two really bad races. Was it Baku that he DNF'd in Baku, didn't he? Yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
DNF'd in Baku, and the last time that happened was Australia, and that's going to knock your confidence because it's like when you go for a run or when you go for a walk. Everything is like you always make sure that you can go on as much as you can before you stop in the first instance. Why? Because the amount of momentum you have then, for some reason or another, once you've taken that break, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to last as long.
Yeah,
And what I
I
mean in
agree.
Formula One terms is he was holding some sort of record. I don't know whether if it was a world record or whatever it was, but he started and finished the most races, and this was a record since like the middle of last year.
Mm.
Even in Australia, when you thought everything would be game over, the man spun off. You thought he'd be trapped into the grass or whatnot.
They
Still made
reversed
it
his way
on.
all the way back
Yeah,
on
and he still
slowly.
finished. Yeah, so he's someone who's like a pioneer. He's a trailblazer. He's the one that people, if ever you want a dark horse, if you want a dark horse story, you put your money on Oscar Piastri because the golden boy is Lando Norris. Instead, Oscar Piastri for 8 months has gone and said, "You know what? I don't give a damn. I am who I am. I'm gonna put myself on the table and here's my cards. So, and now in these last two races, he's just seen everything that he has held on to so far. One was a DNF, which was his own mistake. So that's going to knock his confidence, bearing in mind the circumstances. You've got less than 50 points behind your rival in the in the championship, and he's also your teammate. And then in the second one, he's now barging you, and the team who is all papaya rules and whatnot are like, no, you're not giving the place back. When two races ago, he gave the place back to Lando, didn't he? Because they did that swap for well, it was a 3 point net difference, wasn't it? So they could cover off Charles Leclerc. So he said, "You go first, and then give him the place back,
Yeah.
whatever it was."
Did you hear
So
them when they asked Lando on the radio, "Do you want Oscar to go first in the pits?" And he was like, "Yeah, no, no,
no,
no, no." There was
No.
definitely it was like, "I'm not making that mistake again."
Got two more
it's-
points to talk about before we quit. What do you think about Hamilton not getting that penalty for speeding under red flags?
I mean, well, they looked at the telemetry, didn't they? And they said that he wasn't going quick. He did ease off and everything. So I mean, if they've
it
gone and looked
wasn't
through the
within.
data,
Yeah, it was like legally illegal. If that makes sense.
he's gone on.
Um,
He's doing a Max Verstappen. He's driving on
Yeah.
the limits of the rules. So
So he was allowed with that.
Would you?
It was funny though. A reporter asked him in like before the race started, and like they do the little
Miracle.
parade and whatnot. Yeah, and he was like, "What's gonna happen? What's it gonna take for you to get a win here? You've had 4 wins here before." And he was like, "A miracle." And then he just ignored the reporter. He was like, "This guy, who does he think he is? Like, get out of here, man! Like, you think I'm winning a race from 6th place?" Hilarious.
But to top it all off, as a McLaren fan, what do you think about this Red Bull resurgence recently?
Yeah, it's a bit scary. It is a bit like sitting on the edge of the seat every race now. But I've still got confidence in the team to bring one of the drivers home in P1 at the end of the season. I still think they can do it. As mighty as Max is, mathematically he can do it. But that is sort of it is. I mean,
Logically, yeah, but
logically he could
But
do it.
in real terms, is it possible? And I'm just saying this as a Red Bull fan, and I don't think it's got anything to do with Max. I think if it was just Max, yes, fine. But given the circumstances,
You've got to take everything. There's too many different like
too
factors
many,
that
yeah,
are
exactly.
involved.
Too
Yeah,
many
there's
things
too many.
need to be right, and too many things need to be perfect for
Yeah,
this to happen. And we're not living in a fairy tale. Maybe if there was 10 races to go,
Yeah.
then Dave is probably going to go and say, yeah, most probably I can see Max stealing it. Like maybe Oscar gets it, maybe Norris gets it, but with 6 races to go and a couple of sprints, yes,
but I mean,
still
where are
points
we
up for
at? Where
grabs.
are we
But
at with how many power units and everything Max has used now?
Max has got one more to use.
Within his before he starts getting penalties and stuff.
Yeah, I think you've
what
both
about
used.
what about both the McLaren boys?
I think
I
they're
think
on they've used them.
I think yeah, I saw an FIA document went up yesterday about what power units they've all used.
But anyway, how do you think we should leave that there for? We'll probably see in the next
Yeah.
few days for Kota.
Well, there's 2 weeks time in it for Kota,
Yeah, but, yeah,
so
true. Well,
we'll
get
come back.
someone.
We'll come back next week.
We'll get someone.
100%. We'll give you some more thoughts. We'll give you our top fives.
And maybe a guess.
We'll give you some thoughts in general of what the season's been. Maybe our top 5 races, top 5 best moments, worst moments, all of that stuff. Leave it up to us to do all of the creativity. But
Yeah.
as Alfie said, thank you all for watching.
Thank
Hope you
you.
didn't miss us too much. And
Cheers.
we will see you later.
See you next time, guys. Bye now.